Everyone's talking about building their own ChatGPTs, but here's the truth. No matter how much money countries throw at sovereign AI, most of them are still chained to American and Chinese tech giants. In today's video, we're diving deep into the myth of sovereign AI. Governments across the world, from Seoul to Sao Paulo, say they want independence in artificial intelligence. Their own data, their own infrastructure, their own future. Sounds patriotic, right? But here's the catch. The AI stack, from chips to cloud, is dominated by a handful of US and Chinese firms. So the question is, can sovereign AI ever really exist? Or is it just a shiny illusion? Stick with me, because by the end, you'll see why countries might not be chasing independence at all, but instead, a better seat at someone else's table. Let's start with the dream. Every government has the same mantra: build a homegrown ChatGPT, train it on local data, and leapfrog into the future of AI leadership. For politicians, it's the perfect mix of national pride and national security. Now, let's bring in the reality check. The backbone of AI, those ridiculously powerful Nvidia GPUs, massive cloud servers, and the vast labor networks that annotate data, are almost completely in the hands of US and Chinese companies. No matter how sovereign you want your AI to be, if your models run on Nvidia hardware or Huawei infrastructure, you're still tethered to a foreign pipeline. And the companies know it. Big tech has started marketing sovereignty as a service. Nvidia cutting deals with Thailand, Vietnam, and the UAE. Microsoft offering custom sovereign cloud packages. AWS rolling out a European sovereign cloud. Huawei cozying up to Peru and Indonesia. It sounds like independence, but in reality, it's just dependency, repackaged with a national flag on top. Here's the big problem. Once you sign onto these sovereignty deals, you're not just buying a chip or a model, you're buying into an ecosystem that's almost impossible to escape. As Brown University researcher Rui Yu put it, are you selling your chips and calling it a day, or are you bundling services that rope your clients into ongoing dependencies? That bundling is deliberate. Faster growth, better data governance, even promises to preserve your local language. Sounds great, until you realize you've basically signed a contract with a foreign landlord for your digital future. And the costs? Astronomical. Sam Winterlevy at the Carnegie Endowment puts it bluntly. Full AI sovereignty is a very, very expensive proposition. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars to recreate the entire AI stack, from semiconductors to supercomputers to models. And even then, you'll still rely on some foreign component. Let's look at a few examples. South Korea, one of the most advanced tech nations on earth. They've got Samsung, LG, Naver, SK Telecom, basically an Avengers lineup of tech giants. Yet even Korea trains its AI on Nvidia GPUs and builds data centers with AWS. They're playing the long game, but for now, they're dependent. The UAE, a masterclass in strategic balancing. They're pouring billions into sovereign AI, hosting data centers, and striking deals with Nvidia, OpenAI, and Oracle. But here's the trick. They use their cheap energy, fast building capacity, and easy capital access to gain leverage. Hosting American supercomputers on their soil gives them bargaining power. That's less sovereignty and more chess. India, rather than building the full stack, India's narrowing down. They know catching up in chips is a nightmare, so they're focusing on language models for India's hundreds of local tongues, applying them in agriculture, healthcare, and education. It's sovereignty, but only on a single slice of the pie. Now, here's the kicker. Countries that don't play these cards right get burned. Kazakhstan's supercomputer was delayed because the US held up Nvidia export licenses. Malaysia backtracked on a Huawei AI deal after US pressure and ended up launching a weaker edge-level chip instead. When superpowers are the referees, your sovereignty can vanish overnight. So here's the uncomfortable truth. For most nations, chasing sovereign AI across the entire stack is a myth. The smarter play isn't to try and clone America or China, it's to find your niche in the supply chain. As Winterlevy said, find a choke point, a comparative advantage, a single layer of the stack where you can matter. Don't try to compete across the board. That might mean language models tailored to local culture, or hosting critical data centers, or producing specialized chips for edge devices. But the dream of being fully sovereign, free from US and Chinese influence, for now, that's just marketing spin. At the end of the day, sovereign AI is less about waving your flag on a chatbot, and more about securing your place in the global AI ecosystem. Total independence? Probably impossible. Strategic interdependence? That's the real game. And maybe the real winners won't be the countries that own AI infrastructure at all, but the ones that actually use AI to solve real problems for their people: hunger, healthcare, education. Because power isn't just in the chips, it's in the outcomes. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next big story in AI.